It's been a long journey, but the destination, I have no doubt, is becoming into clearer focus. Plaid Cymru, in its century of existence, has been able to keep the flame alive of what the potential is of Wales being an independent nation. There have been periods of particular success in getting that message across, but certainly from the 1960s onwards, we've had unbroken representation at the Houses of Parliament at Westminster. We were successful in having the campaign to establish a Parliament for Wales. Here we are 25 years on from establishing that Parliament, and it is now a very different institution to the one in its original form. It is now a full lawmaking Parliament with some tax-raising powers. But to me, that is a journey. And in recent years, I have had the honour of witnessing and being part of a significant increase in support for independence, where people now have been happy to bring independence to the centre of Welsh politics. We haven't got majority support yet, but there is traction like never before to the debate on can we, what if, and what the potential is for Wales. It's been a long century, but it's a destination that we still very much believe in Plaid Cymru is one that's worth pursuing. The question had a response of 10% or less until not that long ago. The focus was on Welsh devolution. Welsh devolution was delivered, but even in the first decade and more of devolution, it was sub 10% on the question of independence. Now, in recent years, that has regularly been 20, 30, even 40%, and crucially, when polls are broken down to age groups, a majority of those in the younger age groups say that they would vote yes for independence. Now, that is a hugely significant change. And where it puts us is in a similar place to where Scotland was ramping up to actually hold its referendum. So a major shift in public opinion that I believe can continue to gather momentum if we continue to make the case, the positive case for what independence actually means for Wales. This was a hugely significant report. It was the first time where you had a government-sponsored, but independent report, but government-sponsored, coming to a clear conclusion that yes, independence is viable. It is something that we can realise if we want to. So the question then is, how do you persuade people that that is the choice that they want to pursue? People will point to the fact that the report says that there are challenges with independence, and those who are in opposition to Welsh independence were very quick to jump and point at that. But what we had in that report was recognition that whatever option we choose for our constitutional future, there are challenges. And that includes the current situation where we are intrinsically a part of the United Kingdom. The risks, in my mind, of independence and making it pay, making sure that we are able to be economically vibrant and prosperous enough to pay for our public services, which I have no doubt we'll be able to do, like every other small nation, is balanced with not the risk, but the reality of our situation now, where a third of children in Wales live in poverty and where we underperform continuously economic terms as part of the United Kingdom. That is the reality of where we are now, and it's my job as a pro-independence politician to compare that reality with, yes, the risks, but the rewards of pursuing independence. Viability is a good word, and the report's authors, Rowan Williams and Professor Laura McAllister, chose that word viable carefully. And viability means different things to different people, but essentially it's about, can Wales pay its way? We're told by UK governments time and time again that it is impossible, that the deficit that we run in Wales, running into £10 billion plus, makes it impossible for us to even entertain the idea of being an independent nation. But really, that's not the reality that we face. That is not the genuine deficit. That is our deficit as part of the United Kingdom. The Wales Fiscal Analysis team at Cardiff University point that out in their regular reviews of the Wales's fiscal position. Our position now and the deficit we run is no reflection on what that deficit would be were we an independent country. For example, defence spending for us per head as part of the UK is much greater than defence spending would be were Wales an independent nation. There are many factors, as we've shown in our papers that we presented to the Independent Commission, that would drastically bring down what is genuinely perceived to be our impossible fiscal position. The studies that we have commissioned from, again, independent providers, put Wales's likely deficit somewhere around the same kind of region as most European countries. That, to me, shows we can do this. But you've got to persuade people in Wales that they can. There's a comfort blanket. Unionist parties in Wales will call it an insurance policy in being a part of the UK. Our arguments would be that a third of our children living in poverty and an underperforming economy is not a very good sign of a good insurance policy. Let's try a different means to move forward. I have no doubts that linked with our economic ambitions for creating a fairer, more ambitious Wales is the idea of building on our heritage and our history. We are a nation. We have a history as a nation. We have a future as a nation. We have languages. We have culture, and they need to be celebrated. And I have no doubts that an independent Wales would be able to, back its own history and its future in a way that being part of the UK couldn't. But it's the tangible, pragmatic things that I think will bring people with us on the journey towards independence. But interestingly, in an exchange that I had with the First Minister, we were discussing the viability issue. And the First Minister said, viability is not the word really. What you want to ask is it desirable? Do people want it? And I think the First Minister is playing a very dangerous game there, because if you ask people in Wales, would they like Wales to be independent? Perhaps for those cultural and historic reasons and those sort of bonds that keep us together as a nation? I think it's an emphatic yes, but there's a fear of our practical ability of doing it. We're addressing those practical fears, hopefully to bring people with us on the journey. I always want to learn from the successes and mistakes of other nations. Other nations and friends of ours in different parts of the world have a similar vision for their nations. Yes, I want us to be building up towards having a referendum, obviously, on independence. It's not a matter of saying, right, we get a majority, we will hold an immediate referendum, because we're still making the case. And I want to hold that referendum when I think we can win it. The experience that I'm particularly interested in from Scotland is the trust that the SNP built in those first few years as a party of government in Scotland that enabled them in a second term of government to press ahead with a referendum that they very nearly won. To me, Plaid Cymru's role is to build trust in ourselves as leaders, as political leaders, as a party of government, as somebody that they can trust to want to deliver the best for Wales always, because that's all independence is. That's all independence is, a means to deliver a better future for Wales. We can do that by building trust in government and by putting those national institutions in place, holding those national conversations. We discussed the Independent Commission on the constitutional future of Wales. That work needs to continue, and under a Plaid Cymru government, it would continue with real vigour, because a conversation was had with people instigated by that commission that had never been held before. And people engaged with it in a way that they'd never engaged before. That's the kind of work that I want to see a Plaid Cymru government leading in order to push forward and bring as close as possible the timescale for holding that referendum. We're not quite there yet, but we keep moving forward. And to me, it's getting there as quickly as possible, but it's got to be robust, it's got to be sustainable. Very good question that I've spent a lot of time thinking about over the years. I chair the Wales branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and among its parliamentary members, there are people who have every possible form of relationship with the monarchy. Some already have become republics. Some are very proud monarchists still. To me, politically, I'm a Republican on a personal level. I don't see the sense in having a monarchy as part of a political system in the 21st century. But it's a choice of the people of Wales, and I fully recognise that there are even people within my party who holds the royal family very, very dearly, and I don't really want to conflate decisions about having an independent future for Wales politically and what we do in terms of the monarchy. Wales will decide. I don't think they have to decide that at the same time as whether to go independent or not. Again, a simple answer from me, yes, it should, but it's down to the people of Wales. And sadly, and we can reflect at length on this, Wales did vote to leave the European Union. I think it was for a whole host of reasons. I think any honest assessment would show that Wales would benefit from having the closest possible links with the European Union. That doesn't have to be European membership. We have countries that are outside European Union membership who have very close relations, who are part of the customs union, the single market, and so on. That has to be a minimum. Personally, I'll always make the case of being part of the European Union and try to persuade Wales that we got it wrong last time.